Subscribe. Fazza, poem for beautiful poetry. Her smile was not just a curve of lips. It was a kingdom, radiant and eternal. When she smiled, the world itself bent closer, as though the sky leaned down to listen. Sheikh Hamdan had seen many treasures, held crowns, touched jewels, walked through halls of gold, but none of it mattered when compared to that smile. It was richer than all wealth, brighter than every star, a light that could heal his darkest nights. He longed not for thrones or lands, not for empires or praise, but for that smile alone, the golden treasure that turned silence into song. In her smile he saw freedom, he saw home, he saw destiny itself unfolding. It was as if every lifetime of waiting, every night of patience, every ache of longing, found its reward in that single glow, and so his heart bowed, not to crowns, but to her smile, the kingdom he desired, eternal and divine. He had been raised among greatness, surrounded by power, yet none of it touched him as deeply as the gentle spark of her lips, curving into joy. When she smiled, the air itself seemed to change, lighter, softer, warmer, as if the universe itself exhaled in peace. He thought of empires, built with armies, of treasures guarded by walls, yet all felt empty compared to the unguarded grace of her smile. It was the only crown he desired, one he would never place upon his head, but upon his soul. And though the world might call him prince, might name him ruler, he knew his truest reign was found in the light of her laughter. For her smile was not just beauty, it was a vow, a promise of something beyond life's ordinary measure. To chase it was to chase eternity. To hold it, even for a moment, was to hold everything he ever needed. He remembered the first time he saw it clearly, how the moment slowed, how silence wrapped around him like a spell. Her smile arrived like sunrise, unannounced yet inevitable, chasing away shadows he thought permanent. He felt as though his heart had discovered its compass, pointing only toward her light. That smile was not fleeting, it carried history, it carried stories, it carried truth. He could see kindness in it, strength in it, a tenderness too rare to be described. He knew then that no jewel could rival it, no throne could match it, no crown could weigh more. Her smile was his kingdom, and in it he was no ruler, but a servant, willing, devoted, surrendered. For what greater reign was there than to live within the warmth of love? The world might see him as a prince, but in his heart he was only a man humbled by her smile. Each time her smile appeared, the night lost its weight, the stars seemed to pale, the moon itself bowed. It was not simply beauty, it was power, but not the power of command or conquest. It was the power of healing, the strength of gentleness, the courage of love. Sheikh Hamdan would give away his crowns, his jewels, his castles, if only to keep that smile alive. He would choose it over kingdoms, for no empire could promise the peace her lips carried. In her smile he found prayers answered, secrets revealed, wounds mended. It was a treasure not forged by hands, but by the soul, a light that could not be stolen, only given. And she gave it freely, unaware of the kingdoms it built in his heart, unaware of the way it turned his silence into devotion. For her smile he would wait lifetimes, cross deserts, face storms, never weary, never lost. Her smile was golden, yet not like the metal men sought, not cold or heavy, not something kept in vaults. It was golden like sunlight, warm, alive, endless, flowing into every corner of his being. It made him understand that wealth was not in possessions, but in moments, in glances, in the sacred glow of love. He thought of men chasing crowns, wasting lifetimes for power, while the truest crown had always been hers. He desired no throne higher than her joy, no reign greater than her happiness. When she smiled, he was no longer prince or ruler. He was simply hers, humbled and free. He would give everything for that light, because in that smile he had already found everything. It was not a treasure to own, but a blessing to cherish. A kingdom not of stone, but of eternity, built in the space between two hearts. He wrote silently of her smile, though no words could capture it. His poems tried, his whispers tried, but language itself was too fragile. It was not something to be described, but to be lived, to be felt in the deepest chambers of the soul. Still, he wrote, because her smile demanded worship, not of duty, but of love. He compared it to dawn, to oceans, to stars, but each image fell short. The truth was simpler. Her smile was everything, and without it, the world was incomplete. He knew then that his truest wealth was not in the crowns of his bloodline, but in the light of her lips curving into joy. That light was his endless treasure, a flame he would guard with his life, even if the world never understood. For some loves cannot be measured by what is seen, they must be felt in silence, like prayer. And when she smiled at him, not at the world, not at the crowd, but at him, he felt eternity unfold in a breath. That moment became his crown, his throne, his realm. He needed no more proof of destiny, for her smile was the answer to every question he had carried. In her joy, he found his purpose. In her light he found his belonging. She might never know the weight of what she gave, never know that each smile was an empire he would defend without hesitation. To him it was sacred, as holy as prayer, as eternal as stars. Her smile had turned him into both king and servant, ruler and captive, powerful and powerless. And yet he would not change a thing, for to live in the shadow of her smile was better than to rule in the light of anything else. The world praised him for his strength, for his courage, for his rule, but none knew that his truest strength was born from her smile. It was the reason his silence carried hope, the reason his patience never broke. Each lonely night was made bearable by the memory of her light. Each heavy day was softened by the thought of her joy. Her smile was his shield, his compass, his endless song. Without it, crowns were empty, kingdoms were meaningless, victories were hollow. But with it, he was richer than all kings, freer than all rulers, more blessed than all men. He lived not for power, not for legacy, but for that one treasure that could never fade, the golden light of her joy. It was not wealth he desired, not applause, not history's praise. It was her smile, the kingdom that turned his life into a prayer of love. So his story was simple, though the world would never understand. Sheikh Hamdan did not long for crowns, for titles, for glory. He longed only for her smile, the kingdom richer than gold, brighter than stars, softer than time. And though silence often kept him from confessing, his heart was loud with devotion, his soul bound to hers in ways words could not touch. He would spend lifetimes chasing that smile, lifetimes guarding it, lifetimes cherishing it. For crowns tarnish, jewels fade, kingdoms fall, but her smile was eternal. It was the golden vow love whispered to him across the years, the treasure that turned waiting into joy, the kingdom that needed no walls. And so he lived, not as a prince bound to earthly reign, but as a man bound to love eternal. For her smile was his kingdom, and in it he found not power, but peace, an everlasting reign of the heart.